You can still see the full moon, and I'm just about to get started. Here, this is my house. And so on this video I'm going to talk about how making these videos are actually allowing me to live my life the way I want to. And yeah, I know it all sounds very absurd, but of course at this moment I have no specific conversations with individuals with whom I can have embodied language. I have, already quite a while ago decided that I no longer wanted to have the conversations that I was having with the few people that I was talking with, because I did not find the way in which embodied language was developing to my liking, and I want it to be to my liking. and this is how it is to my liking. And so I assume that if somebody else is having embodied language, they will also have their own embodied language to their liking, because there is no other embodied language. And so, but these videos that I have been making, and also my writing with Croc on X Twitter, those writings have really, look at that beautiful moon. The moon is so beautiful. It's a wonderful, you could say, completion of a cycle. And today I speak about how my decisions with embodied language have had these wonderful consequences that I just feel like, this is how I want it to be. And here I am letting you know that this is exactly how we can all have embodied language, which is of course the language in which a speaker listens to himself. I'm listening to myself, and having it exactly the way I want is what embodied language is all about. And no, there's nothing wrong about that. There's no guilt about that you want that. There's no doubt about that you want that, because doubt is also, of course, a stand in the way. Yeah, people have always doubted themselves, and they have even believed that doubt is a great thing. Well, once you know the difference between disembodied language and embodied language, you know that in disembodied language you're full of doubt, but in embodied language there is no doubt. So the moment you're doubting again, you are again having disembodied language. So I am without any doubt having embodied language. Isn't that a great title of this video? I just like that you can just say these things and suddenly you realize, like, that's how it is, And so this willingness to allow myself to have exactly the conversation I want to have to have exactly the language I want to have the sound I want to have my way as an individual, yeah, and to be uncompromising. And this is another aspect of it. I would not call it uncompromising. I mean, you are always uncompromising when you are having disembodied language, yeah. And when you are having disembodied language, you are uncompromising because you're holding on to all sorts of things. And in embodied language, you are not holding on to anything. So how can you be uncompromising when you are having embodied language? You are not having uncompromising embodied language. That's impossible. That's a contradiction. But you basically also just transcend this whole idea of whether you compromise or not, yeah, because you step out of the notion of whether you compromise or not. Compromise to what? Yeah, you conform to a group behavior again and again. That's what you do in disembodied language. And then you can resist that group behavior, yeah? You can fight with that group behavior. You can react to that group behavior. And all of that is disembodied language. So if you are having embodied language, yeah, you're not doing any of that. If you have embodied language, you are completely beyond any kind of group behavior. Yeah, that's how it is. And so when you are truly hello, there it is again, that moon. Isn't that great? Can you still see it? Yeah. Such a nice sight. You come truly to your senses. You truly come to yourself when you have embodied language. And I don't care whether somebody does this by, I've done this by talking out loud with myself in the past, many years ago. I made many audio tapes and I used the little tape recorder to record myself. And I had boxes full of audio tapes to which I also listened, yes, and I liked to listen also to my own audio tapes. And yeah, it may sound really strange that a person does that, but to me it feels totally, that's something that I enjoy doing. And it is something that has enriched my life. And it has revealed to me the real nature of embodied language, which can only become clear if you continue with it. And yes, I have continued with it by trying to let other people know about it. And to some extent it did continue, you see, because in my conversations with these other people, we've had embodied language, but then again, there were things that remained unaddressed. And these unaddressed issues, I always felt them. But I did not want to be the one to address them, because I also know that each of us has their own issues that need to be addressed, and that need to be addressed by us ourselves. And I cannot address these issues for other people, even though I can sometimes notice those issues. It's not my call to do that. And yeah, that is the nature of embodied language. So that moon is kind of going into my head here. You see that? I let the moon. It's now behind me, and now it is. Oh, wait. Yeah, the moon is shining in my head. Yeah, I'm making these videos to have this conversation with myself and to let myself once more know what I already know, but in a different way, in the way I can address it today. How wonderful it is to have embodied language. Yeah. Yeah. It's still there, that moon, on top of that roof. It's a glorious day of celebration for me to experience this this effect that I've had so much embodied language. Yeah. And that, there's something I have just the other day, for the first time, I have described this. Good morning, I go here, don't worry. Hi, have a good day. I have for the first time described a new awareness, if you will, a new understanding that, well, okay, let me just, for those people that do not know, first I need to explain a little bit the difference between disembodied language and embodied language, right? So the difference between those two ways of talking is the difference between when a person listens to himself or herself while he or she speaks, or not, And so you have embodied language when you listen to yourself, but you do not have embodied language. You have disembodied language when you do not listen to yourself. And so the group behavior that is historically how people communicate has determined that we listen to others, we try to get others to listen to us, but we're not listening to ourselves. So we are conditioned to not listen to ourselves. That is, in a nutshell, my view. And so to get out of that conditioning history in which we do not listen to ourselves, we can say like, oh, this is true. But that doesn't mean that it is impossible. Of course it is possible, and of course it is also needed, because if you want to be an individual, and if you want to, good morning, and if you want to be on your own and live your own life, good morning, and if you want to, not be imprisoned by the expectations of the group, if you want to be a free individual, then you have to have your own embodied language in which you listen to yourself, like I do. Good morning. And then, then your language matches with your way of life, your individual life. And then, good morning, you can celebrate your individually lived experience, like I do. And you do that with your embodied language, with your ongoing embodied language. Now, okay, so disembodied language is an ancient group behavior, and embodied language is the new behavior, the language of the future, the language of individual freedom. And why is embodied language so different from disembodied language? Well, embodied language is very, very different from disembodied language because you do no longer believe in inner language. Yeah? In disembodied language, you believe in the illusion of inner language. You believe you have a mind. You believe you have language going on inside of you. Yeah? You believe that you are talking inside your head with yourself, that you are having thoughts about what's going on. And this illusion of inner language, look at that moon, how pretty. Isn't that something? I just, wow, what a sight, eh? That is so wonderful. Yeah, that is. I'm just gonna stand here for a little while. Yeah, I wanna explain this a little bit while I'm not moving. Yeah. So when you have embodied language, you realize there is no language inside of you. So there is no mind, there are no thoughts. But that has major implications. Because once you realize that when you do not talk and when you do not listen, there's nobody speaking, so there's nothing to listen to. Yeah, and when you're not reading because you're not opening any book or you're not watching any letters anywhere on a piece of paper or something or on a screen. So you're not reading, you're not writing either, you're not having a pen in your hand, you're not typing, you're not keyboarding. Yeah, you're not involved in writing, reading, speaking or listening. Then there is no language because there is no language inside of you. There is no language when you do not speak, when you do not listen. There's nothing to listen to, there's no sound being made, there's no words being spoken. You're not reading anything, you're not writing anything. There is no language when there is none of these four behaviors, yeah? Reading, writing, speaking and listening. So when you're not involved in speaking, writing or reading or listening, there is no language. You are without language. Yeah? You don't open that book and you can't read that book, and you haven't started the movie, so you can't watch that movie. You can't hear what these actors are saying. Their script, their wonderfully acted script. Yeah, the script which makes them act and which makes you feel as if you're going through a whole roller coaster of emotions and adventures with those people who are acting and who are, reminding you of stuff that people go through. Yeah. But once you do not watch that movie, once you didn't buy the ticket to go to the movie, or once you didn't turn on the TV or whatever, the video or whatever it was, the podcast or whatever it was, once you don't open your Facebook or your whatever social media you're on, your Substack or whatever it is, yeah, there's no language. There is no language. So that is so magnificent. That we are without language when we do not speak. When there's nothing to hear, there's no inner voice to be listened to. There's no inner voice. There's nothing, there's no sound. Making a nice picture. Yeah. Uh-huh. going to walk. Oh yeah, there it is. I've spoken about language enlightenment. Well, this is what it's like. Language enlightenment, which reveals itself even while you don't speak. After you've had embodied language.